Many people ask me the same question, so I thought I'll make a video, and that is, when it comes to Hifdh, or should you start Hifdh from the beginning of the Mus'haf, meaning Surah Al Fatihah, Surah Al Baqarah, and onwards from there, or should we start from Surah An Naas and work our way down? So Al-Falaq, Al-Ikhlas, complete the 30th juz, then 29, 28, 27. Now, my answer is always clear and it's always the same, and I have my reasons for it, and I appreciate that other teachers that teach Hifdh and that are experienced in this field will have their own views, and each to their own in the sense that each can probably justify what they're saying. So I'm going to explain what I think is the ideal mix or the blend that should be utilized in order to for a student to carry out or to complete the Hifdh. So what I say is basically from the back, meaning the back of the Mus'haf, Surah An Naas, I say that you start from there. But listen carefully, I don't just say start from there and finish coming down. I say you start from there and you either do half a juz or the full juz, 30th juz. So you memorize the full juz or half a juz, and if not half a juz, then at least, let's just say from Surah Al-Duha to Surah An Naas, for example, or half is from Surah Al-Fajr, so you might do from Surah Al-Duha, or I would say Surah Al-Duha at least. So the reason I say you start from there is because obviously, what else are you going to read in Salah then? You have to know something, you have to have a bit of, you have to know something, and obviously, everyone knows the last 10 surahs, but it's good if you know a bit more, you know. And obviously, depending on the age as well, this can fluctuate as to how much you memorize. But I would say either the full 30th juz, or half, or at least from Surah Al-Duha, that gets you started, that gets the ball rolling. And many students already will know the last 10 surahs, so it's very easy. And the reason for that is to get the ball rolling, and also so in Salah you can recite these surahs and continue to revise them. But then where I differ is, so some say that you should start from there and finish at Baqarah, so come all the way down. But I differ from anything more than 30th juz. I say from then we come back to Surah Al-Baqarah, from the first juz. There's many reasons why. One is that all the surah in the last 5-6 juz, they have very short verses. A lot of them have very short verses. Now, memorizing many short verses you can quickly get confused. You can mix verses up. You can forget what comes next. Okay, and that's why I'm not too fussed about memorizing the whole of 30th juz. But let's just say half or from Surah Al-Duha, because even like surahs like وَالنَّازِعَاتِ غَرْقًا, عَبَسَ وَتَوَلَّى, وَيْلٌ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ, these are difficult surahs if you really think about it. And إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ, I find difficult. إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ. So because of these short verses, it's sometimes difficult to remember the order, or even remember the order of the surah. So you might finish a surah and you'll be like, what surah is next? I don't know. So that's why I say move to Surah Al-Baqarah. Now the benefit of moving to Surah Al-Baqarah is that, number one is you have a mixture of length of verses. So you'll have some very short. For example, ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين, خلاص. And then الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. That's like, you can say that's medium. And then you also have the longest verse in the Holy Quran, which is in the third juz, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه. I'm not going to read the whole verse because this video will increase by 3-4 minutes in length. So you have a nice mix of verses, and that mix, I think, just helps with the student getting to grips with things, you know, like it's just more interesting, it's more exciting mentally as well, that okay, this verse is short, this one is medium, okay, this one's a bit long, so I'll do that tomorrow. You know, so that's one benefit. And then the other benefit is because of the mix in verses in length, it's not that you'll forget what the next verse is, if that makes sense. It's more flowing. Okay, another key difference is at the back of the Quran, there's a lot of new words, as in words that are very specific, not being heard of anywhere else. For example, fi raqim manshur, raq, as in that's nowhere else in the Quran. That's just one example. There's so many more examples, and some of the words are also difficult to pronounce and sort of tongue twisters, if that makes sense. At the start of the Quran, the words repeat quite a lot. So you have the story of Adam alayhi salam, story of Musa alayhi salam. It's all like the same sort of things that have been repeated. For example, قالوا ادع لنا ربك يبين لنا ما هي قالوا ادع لنا ربك يبين لنا ما لونها قالوا ادع لنا ربك يبين لنا ما هي. Again, so that's the sort of angle I'm coming from, and that's why I say there should be a blend. You start a little bit from the back, and then you move back to the front, and then you do the rest of the hifdh from Surah Al-Baqarah ila Surah An Naas. So that's my advice, and if you think it makes sense for you, if you think it works for you, because I think the other thing with hifdh advice, obviously there's generic advice, but it all comes down to the individual student. Each student has different capability. Each student is a different age. Each student is at a different stage in his or her life. Some have more, if you're talking about older students, they have responsibilities. They might be studying and the rest of it. But compared to a little kid that's about 9-10 years old with a fresh mind, that's like a sponge, you can't be really giving same advice. So if this works for you, and if you are a parent watching for your child, and if you think this makes sense, then feel free to go ahead. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comments down below, and I'll try to keep the answers updated so others can benefit from your questions as well. Because what I tend to see is parents always have the same sort of questions, so you can benefit other parents as well. I really hope you found this advice beneficial and useful, and if you are watching till now, then thank you for watching, thank you for listening. Nas'alullah al-qubula wal-ikhlas. There's no point doing all this, me making this video, you or your child becoming hafidh or hafidha, if it is not going to be accepted. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us, and we shall speak soon. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.